Melissa Mark-Viverito is the Speaker of New York City Council. We went to East Harlem to talk with her about her latest initiative, Not a Fan, and coming forward as a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. So, Not a Fan is your PSA campaign about domestic violence in sports. How did you initially come up with it?
And in light of some of the cases that were surfacing of these high professional athletes and these situations of domestic violence that they have been involved in with their wives or their partners. The case of Josh Brown was just horrific in that so extensive, obviously, and that it was documented and the way that he spoke about it. We wanted to do something more than just to complain about what was happening. We felt that there was something that needed to be provided as an outlet to fans to express also their disappointment in their teams. Like, you can be a fan of your team, you don't have to be a fan of the violence that they seem to be condoning. So really it's a fan-based approach and campaign. And that's kind of where it emerged to some of these incidences that happened last year.
Mm-hmm. And how did it come about?
Well, I mean, actually, to be candid, it was very surprised to see the level of buy-in. And there have been some initial calls made to the reps of the teams, and we invited them to a meeting in City Hall where I was at. And the buy-in was rather immediate. So we did have almost all the New York teams, except football. The two New York teams did not participate. They were asked to participate.
And in the case of Josh Brown, he was accused of not just physical violence, but emotional and verbal abuse. How difficult do you think it is to sort of, let people know that that is part of domestic violence?
Some of the media coverage has been critical of the Giants in terms of how they handled it, and kind of welcoming of the decision, although late, of not bringing him back on. That visibility of a conversation on domestic violence leads to, everyone saying that this is not acceptable, and holding those who would condone it or facilitate or enable it, holding them accountable. And I think that's ultimately what we want this campaign to be about.
You recently came forward as a survivor of sexual abuse. You had said that it was sort of triggered by Trump, is that correct?
The tape of him speaking to Billy Bush, and his pretty much clearly saying that just because of who he was, he could sexually assault women, and he could get away with it, so to speak. That in particular kind of hit home for me.
Coming forward, as an elected official, do you see that as part and parcel of your position?
I'm in public office because I want to help, I want to empower, I want to make change happen. And this is not a position that I'm utilizing to advance myself personally. Right? There's a public benefit and a responsibility that comes with holding elected office. So when I did speak about my HPV and when I did speak about child abuse, these are things that were very difficult decisions for me to make, to go public with it. But at that point, to me, to some extent, it was beyond me at that moment. It was about a greater good. I felt compelled to speak so that I could give voice to a lot of other women and young women that may be going through this and just are afraid to be public about it or to ask for assistance or the help. Any type of abuse is unacceptable, so anything that we can do to bring attention, raise awareness, it will encourage people to seek help, to know that there are options available to them, that they don't have to suffer this in silence or alone.
What would you say to someone, like a young Latina who wants to get into public office and doesn't really know how?
I think besides even public office, there's so many other ways that you can serve. I think just encouraging civic engagement is important. The way we build a better society, a fair society, is by everyone playing a role and everyone getting involved. That you have to get involved at all levels, right? It's not just about running for office. You have to hold us accountable as elected officials. We have to instill that in young people. But if they choose, to run for office, we definitely want to create opportunities and avenues for them for that to be nurtured. We don't have enough women in public office in general. In the city council, there's only 14 of us out of 51 council members. We definitely need more Latinas, more women. Obviously, we don't have enough women in general. We need then more Latinas, more women of color to run for office and to be elected into office. So we have to create the mechanisms by which we nurture that.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and really excited about Not a Fan. And
you can get it on Tech CTV, or you can go on the website. Well, it's been really well received, and we're looking for it to grow beyond New York. Let's see what happens.
Yes, let's do this.